Hello and welcome to Nolan Financial Radio. My name is Chris McKinney from Nolan Financial Partners. If you'd like more information about what you hear during our show today, give us a call at 719-210-4242 or visit us online at nolanfinancialpartners.com. While at our website, click on the radio page, check out our past shows, and subscribe to our program on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube Music, or Amazon Music. When you're thinking about your finances and retirement, it's common to mainly consider big things like your nest egg and your monthly budget, the community you're going to call home, your health care, and the legacy you'll leave behind for those who matter most. And those are big topics that warrant a significant amount of thought. But you should also consider some of the under radar things that can impact both your retirement budget and your retirement happiness. I often remind my clients that retirement comes after decades of hard work, careful planning, and financial discipline. That means you want to have a retirement in which you can adequately balance your bills with your desire to enjoy your post-work life. So during our time together today, we're going to discuss how you can be both personally and financially happy during your retirement. But before we get into that, let me introduce you to my co-host, Tony Shore, who's an expert at balancing fact and fun during our show.
I'm glad you didn't say balancing fact and fiction. I was worried. What's he going to accuse me of here? But hey, what's life without a little fun? Right, Chris? I mean, we've done this show.
Yeah, what are we doing here if we're not having fun, right?
Right, exactly. You think you're talking about finances, taxes, budgets. Ugh, that doesn't sound like too much fun.
No.
But we try to have fun, and we've done this show together quite a while, and I've learned a lot from you and from Tara over the years, and I've learned a lot about retirement. I mean, preparing for retirement isn't exactly a financial process. It can be emotional too. It's both, right? It's both. And when those two things are in balance, your retirement is more likely to meet your expectations. So you have to have a balance of the emotional planning side and that type of thing with the finances. And you've always talked about that.
Yeah, I think it's the emotional part is more important than the financial part. If the emotional part is there, then the financial will follow, right? And if you're planning for a fun retirement, man, it makes it a lot easier to do the work to get all your finances in line to have that. So let's focus on how much fun we're going to have retirement, and then all the finances will flow to meet what you desire. We create that target and we'll get it done.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that's really important. First of all, Chris, you look great. You're doing great. Tara's been back for a while from her travels, so
yes.
I know you guys have been meeting with a lot of people, and you love hearing from our listeners. So I encourage them to give you a call. But you've been doing pretty good, right?
Yeah, we've had a great summer, not traveling. So we have last 3 months we haven't really gone anywhere. So it's been nice to kind of rest and travel from our travels. So if you know us, you know how much we've traveled, but we like being here, and we like meeting with our clients, right? Because our clients are what drives us and gives us happiness during the day, is meet with the client and get to talk to them and help them with their plan.
Yeah. That's really rewarding. So you're right. What's life without a little fun, right? So that's
right.
That's good. That's good. So where do you want to begin today with this topic?
So your finances and your balance in personal life are very important to how happy you're going to be. So the chances are, if your financial life is balanced, then your personal life is also going to be balanced, and you're going to have more fun. So that's how we see it. That's what we have seen, right? So let's begin with the important of maintaining your status as a bigger saver than you're a spender, especially as you near retirement finish line, right? So most financial service professionals recommend having at least $500,000 saved before you leave your career behind. So other financial service professionals recommend as much as $1 million. The size of your personal nest egg will likely come down to your anticipated needs and goals. When I sit down with our clients, we kind of sometimes will set a goal because it's all personal based on you. It could be $2.5 million. It could be $5 million. It kind of depends on who you are, right? So a good way to possibly reach your personal retirement goal is to pay off your mortgage as soon as possible, but maybe that's not right. So in this, you've probably heard this from other people, pay off your debts as soon as you can, but it kind of depends.
Right.
Mortgage is your single largest monthly expense. But I've had some clients that are like, okay, we're going to pay extra and pay it down so I don't have it in retirement. Great, let's figure that out. I've had some clients that are like, hey, I'm 2 years away from retirement. I'm going to refinance my mortgage so it's much smaller. And then I still have that mortgage deduction throughout my life. I don't plan on outliving my mortgage, so I won't have to pay it at the I can live off that money that I'm kind of going to pull out of it by doing this refi. So
Sure.
it really depends upon how the numbers work for you personally. And then refine what kind of mortgage can you get into right now? Maybe that's probably not the best idea due to the current high rates. Um, but beefing up your nest egg is the kind of the most important part.
Yeah, saving is important, and if you if you can get a lower interest rate right now, they're a little high, but like my wife and I are at about 3%.
Oh,
And
that's awesome.
so why would we use money? People say you got to pay off all your debt. Well, there's good debt and bad debt, right? You don't want to
Right.
carry credit card debt and you don't want to carry high interest debt. But if you have a 0% or 1% loan on a car, or if you have a really low interest rate on your home, like 4 or less percent,
Right.
then it might make sense, depending on your situation, as you've mentioned on previous shows. Use the bank's money to pay
Right.
for your house. Well, you use your money to build for retirement.
Right.
So getting out of debt before retirement's great, but you don't want to use money that you're going to need to live on in retirement to pay off your mortgage if you've got a low end. If you're making more on that money in the market, why
Yeah.
if I'm making up to 10% a year on my investments and retirement funds and nest egg sitting in the market, why would I pull it out of there and use it to pay off a 3% loan? That doesn't find numbers wise, that doesn't make sense, right?
You're exactly right, Tony, and there's a lot of information that goes toward what you're saying. The thing to do is to look at the numbers. It depends on
Right.
on the person. Depends
Yes.
where you are in your mortgage too. So if you're late
Sure.
in your mortgage, definitely don't pay it off early, because if you look at the actual interest rate on the amount, if you're in the last 10 years of a note,
Mhm.
look at the actual interest rate you're paying. It's very low. You pay
Yeah.
most of your interest at the beginning of those notes,
Yep.
right? So all you're doing is putting capital into something you can't spend.
Yes.
So you can't spend the capital that sits in your house. So
Right.
that can be a challenge for you if you try to do that, and then you put off going and doing things for 5 or 6 years because you're trying to pay off the house, and then now you got to pay it off house, but you don't have the energy to go anywhere or the
Right.
money.
Or the money, and you lost out on some growth opportunity there
Oh yeah.
for possible retirement income. But really, don't make any of those decisions
No.
until you work with a financial professional. And in order to really do the math, you need to get to know the person, their goals, where they're at. And so I would
That's right.
recommend our listeners give you a call, Chris. And that number, by the way, is 719-210-4242. That's 719-210-4242. Set up that no charge consultation. You've got a great team there at Nolan Financial. You and Tara do a great job. So I think that's great. And, you know, there are advantages to paying off debt. I mean, if you
Right.
do get your mortgage paid off and things, maybe you'll have more money to put away for travel and hobbies. But, you've got to find that right balance. Where's the sweet spot for you, right?
That's right. You really need to understand how that all those kind of things will affect your overall financial situation.
Sure.
And so we can help do that. We've got professional software that helps us make those decisions, and we'll go through our what if machine, right?
Sure.
Well, what if whatever you want to do, and see what makes the most sense.
Yeah.
Um, and then you still have you're still the decider, right? This is always your decision, but let's make an informed decision.
Yeah. Yeah. That's funny. You're the decider. I like that.
The decider, yeah.
Yeah. So what's next?
So the next thing I kind of want to talk about was, uh, you know, you're retired. You're gonna learn how to get around town on an e-bike. Maybe you're gonna start writing that novel that you always wanted to write,
Sure.
or
Yeah.
whatever hobby that you've been putting off. You want to try something new. You want to learn a language. Um, don't forget about the value of having routines during your day, during your week, during your month. So, volunteering at schools or a nonprofit, maybe building meals at a food pantry kind of thing, or they just don't occupy your time calendar, but it's also a way of you staying active, staying involved with your community, meeting new people that are doing the same. They're in the same stage of life and doing the same things that are you want to do, right? And it also helps you from sitting around and watching, the shopping channel and buying stuff you don't need. So, if you're active, you're not going to find things you need to spend more money on, right? Do you
Right.
need new deck chairs? I need new deck chairs. Oh, okay. What's wrong with the old deck chairs? Well, nothing. I just want new ones.
Yeah.
So it's something you want to balance. You want to have things that you do that uh, that don't just keep draining your nest egg.
Yeah. Well, and as we've talked about before, for 40 or 50 years, your job took 40 hours a week of your
Oh
time,
yeah,
right? But then
yeah,
once you retire, you got a whole bunch of open space on your calendar. I
that's
mean,
right.
that's 40 hours a week you got to fill. So, um, you
Well, and
know,
if you're commuting, you add another 10 hours to that, so that's 50 hours.
yeah. So, and not having a plan for what you're going to do in retirement, how you're going to fill that time can
Yeah,
easily lead to that impulse spending that makes it,
that's right.
more likely you'll outlive your money. You don't want to do that.
No, you don't. And you may have this goal of having this big hobby, so you go out and you buy all the stuff to have a hobby. I had this client that did this.
Sure.
He went out and bought every woodworking tool that Lowe's had, right? Every
Right.
single one of them. And then they sat in the garage. He started kind of playing with them, and then it just didn't scratch his itch.
Yeah.
Um, so I recommend, if you're going to try to get a new hobby, see if you can find a class so that you're just paying a tuition fee. You're not paying for expensive equipment to get into that hobby unless you got a lot of experience with it. You want to take some class. I think that classes are a great way to do some of the more expensive hobbies, so that you can learn if you like it or not. If you want to start
Yeah.
welding or doing
That's a
something.
great idea. Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
take a welding class if you want to weld things, or a woodworking class. Find those, or find somebody that does it. Work alongside them, learn, and then as you go, you'll realize, yeah, this isn't going to fill. I can't do this for like hours a day. And a lot of people have those big ideas, right? That once
They
they
do.
retire, I'm going to buy a bunch of tools and do woodworking, or once I'm retired, I'm going to golf 5 days a week, right?
Yeah.
That you hit a wall pretty quick. I always say that people hit a wall pretty quick. I've known people who have
Yeah.
retired, and you can only do these things so long. I'm going to lay in the pool. Well, for 50 hours a week, you're going to lay in the pool. You got that much time to fill that you used to spend at the office. So
Yeah.
you'll be more wrinkled than a raisin. You'll shrivel up like a raisin if you spend that much time in the
You
pool.
look
But
like Ricardo Montalban, right?
yeah, yeah, exactly. So So yeah, I mean, obviously, you have to take into account those types of things.
Yeah, that's
You
right.
know,
So it's about balance,
yeah,
and that's the key thing is having balance that um, you have a spending plan, and then you have a part of your spending plan that is at the at will part of your spending plan needs to meet what your emotional needs are. Okay,
yeah,
so that's how we create plans, and so once we create that balance of here are your must, and then here's what you have for fun. You know, do you need 10 grand a year for fun? Do you need 20 grand a year for fun? Do you need 50? What do you need for fun? Let's figure that out, and then we create that. But your spending plan has to take into account both your fun and your must-haves. And
yeah.
so that's what we're talking about. But if your spending plan is not taking care of your fun part, your emotional needs and your social needs and those things, then we got to relook at it.
Yeah. Yeah, you have to plan for those. That has to be a part of your retirement plan. We talk about retirement income planning, but it's more than just covering the bills. It's, what are you going to do in retirement, right? And
Right.
that comes up in the conversations you have with your clients, right?
That's right. So once they finish that last piece of retirement cake,
Yep.
um, and you leave that office for the final time,
Yeah.
a big part of your identity is gone, right? When you go out and
Yeah.
meet somebody, "Oh, what do you do?" "Oh, yeah, well, I'm a software engineer and, I build software for hospitals." "Oh, I'm this, I'm that, I'm a teacher or an engineer." Well, you know what? You're not that anymore. You're
Yeah. Your
retired to
identity is really wrapped up in your job if you've worked it for a
exactly.
long time. Yeah.
Yeah. So, I'm a military retiree, but when somebody asks me, "What do you do?" I don't tell them, "Well, I'm a military retiree."
Right.
I still have a job. So,
Yeah.
but
You're a
but when you don't
financial
have a
advisor.
job, you're not gonna say something that you do for fun, right? That's what you need to be doing.
Yeah.
So you need to have that new purpose. You need to have something that if somebody says, "Hey, what do you do?" I'm like, "Oh, well, I've planted a rose garden in my backyard and I've got some trees that I'm working on. And I took this gardening class. It was amazing. Turned my thumb from a black thumb to a green thumb, and I'm having fun with it."
Yeah.
So there you go.
Yeah. That's awesome. Well,
So,
and yeah, I mean, there is a direct financial benefit here too, right? I mean, to you have to if you know what you're going to do
yeah,
and you have a purpose, it's easy to think about retirement as a long endless adventure, but endless adventures cost money, so balance is essential, isn't it?
that's right. So you've got to um, balance all those things with what decided what your expendable income in retirement is, your expendable funds are in retirement. Yeah, that direct benefit is filling your time with activities. Um, Maybe it's volunteering, join that hobby. Uh, you're not overspending on meals, impulse shopping, that kind of thing. And then you're also maintaining strong bonds with friends because you are active, you are doing something, um, without having to, go on a cruise with them or, go somewhere and do something or travel to where they are. Um, those kind of things. So, maybe potluck dinners, weekend road trips with friends and family, or those are great ways to keep your mind and body active and your wallet full, right? So
Yeah.
while maintaining old friendships is really important, there's also real value in building new relationships. So, because in your 70s, sometimes you lose friends. That's the sad part about it. But you still want to have new friends. Maybe you want to have some younger friends that kind of keep you in the know of what's happening in the world and how things are changing. So, with some of those volunteer opportunities, you're around staff of all ages. So, that's kind of nice. And so you can keep up with all the pop culture, the latest tech gadgets, Maybe latest concerts are coming around. Hey, if Led Zeppelin's coming to town, I'm going, right? Um, Tara is saying, "Hey, I want to go see this Taylor Swift person. I hear a lot about that this lady. Maybe we go see a concert. She sounds interesting."
Right. Yeah. And never heard of her.
Yeah, no, yeah, no.
Not familiar.
But we have
Um,
a new amphitheater here in Colorado Springs.
oh
It's called
yeah.
the Ford Amphitheater. I don't know if you've heard about it, but it's a luxury. They're calling it a luxury amphitheater. I don't know what that means, but it's outdoors. We've got tickets to go see Jim Gaffigan.
Oh,
Um,
fun.
so so
I
that's gonna
love
be
him. My
fun.
wife and I have seen him twice live. Got to
Oh,
meet him
really?
backstage once. Yeah, he's
No,
great.
that's fun.
Yeah, he is great. We love Jim Gaffigan. He's so
Yeah.
funny. He
Yeah.
is
Well, that
very funny.
opens up next month. Jim's not until the middle of September, but um, they're filling that thing up with some really great stuff. So I think there's going to be a lot of interest in that new theater.
Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure they'll have a lot of major acts come through there now. That's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'll have to check that out when I come out there.
Yeah.
I definitely have to go to a show there. I can't wait. When does it open?
It opens next month.
Oh, next
I
month already.
don't
Okay.
remember who the beginning person is, but I mean, Ford bought the rights to name it. It's kind of a big deal for Colorado Springs
Oh yeah.
to have
What's
that
it
kind of
called? The
venue.
Ford Amphitheater?
Ford Amphitheater, yeah.
Huh. Cool.
So so there's a restaurant here called Bourbon Brothers, and they opened up a boot barn, which was like an event venue, weddings, those kind of things. And then they got the seed money to start the amphitheater, and then they they sold the naming rights, and so that's who did it.
Well, it's a pretty good lineup. I just pulled it up. One Republic, which is a big
Yeah,
pop group, they're opening.
yeah,
And I
yeah.
believe they're huge.
It's already
Um,
sold out. We couldn't get tickets.
yeah, Beach Boys,
Yeah.
Lauren Daigle, she's really good. Primus, for a little crazy
Wow.
fun. Primus is absolutely crazy. That's funny.
I didn't see that one. Primus. That's
Yeah.
How old is Primus?
They've been around a while. They've been around quite a while. Yeah. Yeah, that guy, the bass player, I forget his name. He's so funny, and I have a couple of his solo albums. But yeah, Primus is funny. That's crazy. John Fogerty of Creedence is playing.
Yeah.
Dierks Bentley. Robert Plant and Alison Krauss are doing a show there.
Oh, Robert
Yeah.
Plant. I would go see
Yeah.
Robert Plant. That'd be a
Yeah,
fun
Jim Gaffigan, Pentatonics. Wow, Bare Naked Ladies. They really have a lot. Steve Miller, ZZ Top, for King and Country, Foreigner and Loverboy. There you go.
yeah.
And of course, I know you're into the heavy stuff. Godsmack is coming in October.
No, I'd rather see Foreigner
No,
than Godsmack.
yeah, you and me both. Yeah, not a Godsmack fan, that's for sure. All right, well, I didn't mean to get us off topic. You brought it up, but that sounds fun,
Yeah.
and
Yeah,
it looks like
it's
it's
gonna be
going to
fun.
be. Yeah, it looks like it's going to be amazing. Everyone in the Colorado Springs area is probably going to want to check that out. So, but obviously, when you're trying to balance finances and fulfillment,
Yes.
you need to make sure you're paying attention to what you're doing. I know that again, balance and isolation
Right.
can be horrible. I've seen it with people
Yeah.
once it affects a retired person's health, physical health, and
Yes.
financial health. So you got to get out there and do something to stay social too.
Yeah, we touched on that earlier in the show.
Yeah.
It's really the ideal time to start trying some of the things that you've haven't been able to do because between
Yeah.
work and raising a family. Maybe it's fly fishing, European river cruise, learning the language like Norwegian. Who learns that?
Yeah.
So it's a lot of different interests. So it's important to note that a lot of financial service professional like myself recommend to clients to take at least a year or two to get a hang of retirement before they make any major decisions or moving to a new home or community. because if you move there and then all of a sudden you don't like it, now you're stuck with there's a financial burden with removing again, right? Moving is super expensive between all the costs of buying a new home and selling a home and then moving. The emotional toll is bad. So if you think you're going to be a snowbird, make sure you go there on vacation first, right? Make sure you rent before you buy, before you make a massive life change that would come with a move, right, in
Yeah.
retirement. So I do have some clients that moved in retirement, and they're not happy that they moved, and they moved back to where the family is, but family was settled in their routines, and they're not interested in spending that much time. They can do maybe a dinner once a week, and so it's not what they expected. So you got to make sure that if you're going to do a move, you do it after you've tested it out first.
Yeah. Yeah, there you go. Do it after you've tested it out. Again, you gave that advice earlier in a scenario,
Yeah,
and that's so smart. People think, oh, when I retire, you hear about people retiring to different locations, and you
yeah,
got to spend some time there, right?
that's right.
Before you pull the trigger. Yeah.
And you mentioned health, so one of the great things about retiring is you can actually spend time focusing on your health because you have a little bit more time to plan for it. And so it's really rewarding to focus on your health. Have had a lot of clients. They've lost that last 20 pounds in retirement that they wanted to use by enjoying their new hobbies and experiences and moving around, and then being very picky about what they eat. Eating that banana instead of a candy bar. It's not only good for your waistline, it's good for your budget. Bananas are a lot less expensive than a candy bar, my friend.
It's true. It is true. Yeah, you can get bananas cheap some places, a
Oh
bunch
yeah.
of bananas, yeah, and they're good for you. So, yeah, that's another good thing. Well, I'll tell you what, Chris, this has been a really good conversation. But
So much
before we
fun.
Yes. Yeah. Talking about some fun. Hey, you need to have fun in retirement, but in order to do that, you need to have a plan in place and to have a purpose, have some goals. And
That's
to
right.
help you with that, I happen to know a couple
Yes,
of
sir.
people, the Nolan Financial Partners, Chris and Tara. Chris, how can our listeners get a hold of you to set up that consultation?
So listeners can visit our website at nolanfinancialpartners.com. They can call us at 719-210-4242. We can discuss how we can answer your questions, address your concerns about your retirement goals, or any needs or other parts of your financial strategy. So it's our goal to help you prepare for the retirement you've worked so hard for. That number is 719-210-4242.
All right. Well, Chris, great show today. Listeners, that does it for today's episode of Nolan Financial Radio with our host, Chris McKinney.
Join us again soon for another episode of Nolan Financial Radio.